As you heard on Lateline tonight, Rio Tinto sacked 4 of its executives sentenced to jail after being convicted on bribery charges. Australian citizen Stern Hu has been handed a 10-year jail term. The Australian government has described the sentence as tough by any measure. Foreign Minister Stephen Smith also says the lack of transparency surrounding the trial is a missed opportunity for China and leaves the business community in the dark. Francis Bell reports.
Soon after Stern Hu and his 3 colleagues were whisked away from court, the Foreign Affairs Minister Stephen Smith began dealing with the fallout in Australia.
On any measure, this is a very tough sentence.
Mr Smith says there was evidence the 4 Rio Tinto executives were involved in acts of bribery during the 2009 iron ore price negotiations. Behaviour he says the Australian government condemns. But he says there are serious unanswered questions about the charge of stealing commercial secrets and that China has missed an opportunity to clarify the issue by conducting that part of the trial in secret.
The world has been watching. Clearly, the international business community has been watching, and transparency and clarity on this point would have been of assistance.
Rio Tinto's iron ore chief Sam Walsh wasn't available for interview, but issued a statement saying that by accepting bribes, the 4 had engaged in deplorable behaviour that is totally at odds with the company's strong ethical culture, and that in accordance with its policies, Rio will terminate their employment. Rio Tinto said its own investigation into the claims against the 4 did not uncover any evidence to substantiate the allegations of wrongdoing, and it had therefore concluded that the illegal activities were conducted wholly outside Rio's systems. Now that the 4 are no longer Rio Tinto employees, consideration of an appeal will be left to their individual lawyers. There's now debate over what impact the verdicts will have on the way Australian businesses operate in China. For several months now, Rio Tinto has been making significant changes to its Chinese operations. Its iron ore marketing business is being moved to Singapore, and last month it appointed Australian-born Ian Bowett, a fluent Mandarin speaker, to head its operations in China. It's led to suggestions that more Australian businesses will move away from using ethnic Chinese negotiators, in the belief that China would be reluctant to arrest a business leader not born in the country. But China business consultant Mike Burrell says nationality is not the issue, and that experience in dealing with both cultures is a more important qualification.
What the Chinese negotiators are looking for is someone who actually represents the company. And they feel quite comfortable in dealing with people of any nationality who are genuine representation or representatives of the company. And I think the experience goes a long way.
Mike Burrell says the case relates specifically to Rio Tinto's operations, and the jail terms won't discourage other Australian companies from doing business in or with China. But he expects the suggestion of bribes or so-called facilitation payments will become less common as negotiations are done by the book.
I think they'll be more cautious in their approach. I think that the Chinese economy cannot be ignored, and the Australian economy and the Chinese economy are sort of very, very closely interrelated. So I think it would be foolish for any Australian company to take this as a signal about what's happening for the future.
A relationship the Australian government says hasn't been damaged by the conviction and sentencing of Stern Hu.